Okay, this session, picking up where I left off on SwayBarInfo, going to implement whitelisting and blacklisting for net devices when the all word is specified for the net device. I thought about this over the weekend a lot, so I hit the ground running on this one. First thing to do is add args to accept the commands to specify the whitelist and blacklist entries. I've decided on 4 types of entries per white or blacklist. Exact values, which matches exactly the string, contains if the string contains part of the contained string, begins with if the string begins with something, and ends with if it ends with something. I could have used regular expressions, but I felt like just doing it this way is more clean and is more accessible to those who don't know how to do regular expressions. Seems kind of wordy to have 4 different things per white blacklist, but it works by the end of this. The args result struct is passed as a result from the getArgs function. So by the time it's done parsing args, it will have everything it needs. Right now I'm creating variables to add the values when it's parsing arguments. Now I'm going to actually add the arg parsing to populate the variable with the argument specified. A hash set should be enough. I'm only storing unique values anyways. Though in later on it becomes clear that a hash set can't be used fully efficiently. You'll see. I'll explain later. Thanks to the versatility of Helix Editor, I can just reuse some of this for the blacklist parsing. Now I'm assigning the variables to the struct that contains the values parsed from the arguments. So I somehow got a hash set string slice instead of a own string. So I'm changing the definition of the variables to make sure it has the right type. Back to setting the struct contents. Now that the arg parse is done, I have to use it elsewhere. Giving args result clone capabilities lets me easily pass owned versions of it. Might be memory intensive, but I don't want to get things messy with reference handling. I mean, it's not that much memory, I don't think. It should be fine. This function determines if the string is allowed by the whitelist and not denied by a blacklist. If there's no whitelist entries, then it's assumed that there's nothing to whitelist against, because normally if there's a whitelist, anything that isn't in the whitelist is blocked. By checking if all the whitelists are empty, I can just assume that, oh, whatever remains after blacklist checking should be allowed. Otherwise, the whitelist wouldn't allow it. And here's the problem with the non-exact whitelist blacklist values. I have to check every value inside the contains and begins and ends, because the hash set only provides matching full string content. I would have to make a special data structure, but at the same time, it would still have to check against everything. So there's no choice but to iterate through all elements in the hash set for the rest of the values. Because by design, like I said, the hash set. Now, if there is an entry in any of the whitelist, it's assumed that anything that isn't in the whitelist doesn't match or isn't allowed. So all I have to do in this part, in this else block, is to check all the whitelists. And there's no need to check the blacklists in this case, because if it's not in the whitelist, it's as if it's in a blacklist. And again, Helix editor pulling its weight right here. Double checking. Looks good. Here I'm trying to ensure that the loopback name LO is inside of the blacklist-exact set. Due to Rust shenanigans, well, not shenanigans, but it feels like shenanigans, I can't add to the blacklist because the args result isn't declared mutable at the beginning of this new function. But the struct containing it is mutable, so I have to move this below the assignment to the struct. Yeah, here I contemplate making the blacklists have more priority over whitelists. But after some thinking, I decided to let the whitelists have priority instead. So I change it back. And now I'm going to actually use the function that checks against the white blacklists in this part of the code. Note that I come back here later to fix a bug with it. Maybe you can easily see what went wrong here at first. Now that the whitelist blacklist checking is plugged into the update function, what's left is to use the args result and pass it to netinfo in main. Now that it's reached a point where it can build, it's time for some testing. After some checking of the diffs. And here I see there's an error. Not quite sure at first what the problem was, so I add a print line to figure out what's being parsed. And looks like it's receiving lines that shouldn't have been added to the dev lines vector. So the problem is in the filter, what I just added. I didn't have a check if the line, the first word ended with the colon. And the next problem actually is that I didn't remove the colon from the check. Did you guess correctly? Actually, I have a problem finding the right function for this, so give me a moment. It takes at least like another 10 seconds or so. Remove the colons from the end of the string because it checks against the net device without the colon on it. Looks like it's working now, but to make sure I add a print line. Yes, a print line right here. With this, I can see exactly what devices are being queried when I run it with all. So I test the white and black lists here. So one thing to note, I could have cached the result of the checking against every interface. That probably would make it more efficient because otherwise right now the current implementation checks against every line, every interval, which is 5 seconds. The problem is what if someone plugs in a USB Wi-Fi dongle and wants the all netdev to account for that as well, with the blacklists and whitelists checking against it. So just because the net devices might change, I'm not caching the check against the white blacklists. Of course, you might be able to just restart SwayBarInfo with the refresh command on Sway, but it would be cleaner if it would just handle it without having to restart. First commit. I do amend this later for a minor thing, but the main feature is basically done. At this point, I realize I didn't add the commands to the help text. So I add the commands to the help text and amend commit it in. some line white space handling here. A little bit of testing, but I know it works. I figure might as well do a cargo update here while I'm updating it. And bumping the version. Since it's kind of like a new feature, it should be minor version to 3, but I feel like this edition extends what was added in the previous version, so I'm just going to bump the patch version to 1. It's just about done now, so pushing to all my repositories, 2 of them, GitHub and my website. And then doing a cargo publish, because this is also on crates.io. Thanks for watching.